All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Debbie Lowry, and today we are going to talk about RON, Remote Online Notarizations in the state of Michigan. So first off, in Michigan, when you are, you're not automatically, you can't automatically do RON when you become a notary. So first you become a notary, and then you apply, you submit a form and you apply for your RON commission. It's the same commission. It's like attached or added to your existing notary commission, and it is concurrent with your notary commission. It'll expire when your original commission expires. So there's not any new certificate. You're not going to get any paperwork or anything in addition to what you already have for your original commission. What you will see on the website, on the Great Seal website, when you search for your name in the notary directory, you'll see two listings for yourself. So the first one will be your original commission, and then the second one will be for your RON, because it's your profile has been updated on the website. So that is how you know, because you don't necessarily get an email from the state. If you, once your request has been granted, you have to look for it yourself. You don't get any emails or anything like that. There is a form. I'm going to show you the form that you have to submit to the Great Seal in order to request electronic notary. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the form is found, and I'll just put this link in case anybody needs it. I'll put it in the chat. Let me throw that in there real quick. But you can see it is specifically for electronic or e-notary. This is the form that you're going to submit anytime you want to make a change to your list of RON vendors. And the state provides a list. We'll look at the list of all the RON platforms that the state has approved. So you can only use those platforms designated or identified by the state of Michigan. You have to use this form to send it in. But what you have to do is you have to send in proof that you've been approved and onboarded with whatever platform that you decide to go with. So what you'll need to do is pick a vendor. And the vendors are, there's a list. Let's see, where's that list? Here's a list of vendors. Here's a list of vendors available in the state of Michigan. So you can see there's quite a few. There's 19 vendors in the state. You have to do your due diligence and check them out yourself. All RON platforms are different in some kind of way. Some may work for you, some may not. Some you may not be able to actually get on. I can tell you, like, so let's talk about vendors for a second. There are platforms that allow you to actually do your RON or your remote online notary right on their platform. There are some platforms that only work with title companies or lenders, and you would need to work through the lender or the title company to be able to use that platform. A good example is Nexus ClearSign. They have a very, very good, easy to use platform, Nexus ClearSign, but you can only get through it through another vendor like Amrock or the closing exchange. So you have to sign up with those signing services and then hopefully get assigned a RON that uses the platform. There are some platforms, I don't know if any on this list, yeah, Notarize, they claim to have jobs or like a job board where they'll distribute jobs out to you, but most don't. You'll have to build your own RON clientele. And go ahead, Leslie, you want to ask a question?
No, I want to mention that Notarize does give jobs out, but not to people in Michigan at this time.
That is true. So Notarize has been around for a while, and they originally were only in 4 states. Those are their, like, I don't know, base states, and those 4 states are the ones that get the jobs off the job board. I don't know that all 4, I don't want to tell you the wrong ones, but I know Florida, Louisiana, and Texas are one. I don't remember what the other one was, maybe Virginia. And then there are, so there's platforms that claim that you'll be able to get jobs. And then there are other platforms where you need to bring the business. So just know that when you're building your RON business, the jobs aren't flowing to you. It's not like the signing service that's calling you and saying, here's a job, here's a job. It's a totally different thing. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And so we talked about how to apply for your RON. So you have to, with your form, you have to send in proof that you've onboarded with some of these companies. These companies cost money, but luckily some of these companies offer like a free trial. So start with the free trial. I can tell you DocuSign has a free trial. You can put DocuSign on your form, do the free trial, put it on your form, submit your form. It doesn't cost you, this form doesn't cost anything. So you can update this thing as many times, you can add, change as many times as you want. But let me caveat this. When you send this form in, you need to make sure that this is your current list. So don't have DocuSign on and then you add 2 more vendors and then just send in the form with the 2 more vendors, because they'll think that you took DocuSign off. So you want to always send in the most current list every time you refresh this with the state of Michigan.
And also make sure your signature is your notary signature, because that's what they'll look at if you go to court. And it has to, I don't know if you noticed in the upper right or left hand corner, it has to be mailed in now. You can't submit it electronically anymore.
Yep, which is even, I won't go into US Postal Service, but anyway, so yes, start with the free trial of the vendors. And there are a lot of vendors that do have some sort of free trial offering. They'll usually let you train for a certain amount of time, but just be careful, because there are platforms that there's some platforms that are very expensive, like $500 setup fee and $150 a month. And on top of that, then they are charging you for your stamp and every little thing, like they nickel and dime. There's some that you pay a one-time fee and then you pay per use. There's some that you got to buy like coins or tokens or something. Like, to me, it's totally weird, because I always think tokens like for a slot machine. So I don't like the ones where you're buying tokens to pay for it in advance. It's just weird to me. But so do your due diligence.
Excuse me, Debbie. May we ask questions during the presentation or wait?
Sure. No, go ahead.
Okay, so are there any, and I'm new to RON, and actually I'm just starting my application, and I have this list of approved vendors. Are these the only vendors that are approved for the state of Michigan?
That is correct.
And then the second question is, can you all recommend one that you use that you've been successful with, or how does that work? Because obviously, yeah. Can you just recommend one that you use that you've been successful with?
I can give you my affiliate link. You can sign up under me. But here's what I want everybody to do. I want everybody to do their due diligence. You should check out all the one. Don't just go by what I say. Don't just go by what Leslie says. Do your due diligence, because I've looked at most of them. I haven't looked at all of them. It's important for me to make money. And knowing that we can only charge $10 per month, I'm sorry, $10 per notarization, even on a RON, and then we don't even get the benefit of like any other fee, technology fee, any other fee. We only can charge $10 for that stamp. So when I went through the list, I vetted based on that. First, can I make money? Because I'm not going to do it and not make money. So there's a limited amount that will let you do that. I personally use Cyberize it. I've been doing a few more. The system is fairly new, and the platform, let me call it a platform. The platform is fairly new. It's only been around for a couple years. It's still in the growing, tweaking stage. So I have had some technology issues, some growing pains with the platform, but things are starting to smooth out now. So I recommend it because that's what I use. And because you get a path to financial success, the thing I like about it is the client pays the platform, then the platform pays me. So that's how I can get around just the $10, because I'm not billing the client, the platform bills the client, and then I can get paid. So I can get paid a little bit more. So instead of $10 per notarization, I get $25 for one stamp and $35 for two stamps. So that's what works for me. Although I have also used the Nexus ClearSign, and that system is extremely user-friendly. Like, it is like a first grader could do it. It is so easy. But the thing about that is that platform works with the title companies and the lenders. So your documents are already tagged. All you have to do is go in, and the users have to authenticate, and you hop on and you answer a few questions. I think you have to sign your signature electronically, and then you're ready to start the transaction. Not every platform is that easy. And I haven't actually used a lot of other platforms. I've seen demos while I was doing my my due diligence, and those were the two that I landed on. So again, go through that list and take notes, call, check out the websites, make yourself a little spreadsheet if you have to, and see what works best for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So we talked about the form. We talked about the
vendors.
The
Can
vendors,
I just say
thank
something
you.
really quick while you're going to your next thing?
Yes.
Just a recommendation, kind of bouncing off what you just said about doing your own due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
Any business that you ever have, if you are trying to take a shortcut to the money, you're going to fail. So what's good for Debbie might not be good for you. What's good for me might not be good for you. So if you really truly want to make money, you need to know the whys. So you need to know why Debbie recommends one platform over another. And it's not just her words. You need to make sure that you have the same values she has, you have the same time she has. And that's why just taking recommendations and going with it is going to only get you so far. If you really want to get somewhere with your business, you have to put in the work to make it happen. There's a discussion on Facebook right now about, hey, where do you all get your stuff? Again, do your own due diligence. What's important to you might not be important to me. So, and there's a whole discussion about it. Figure out what's important to you and manage to that. It is your business, you're running it, and you are not going to succeed if you're just carbon copying somebody else.
Well said, Leslie. All right, so let's now talk about the types of notarizations in general. So there's generally three types of notarizations. There's your traditional pen and paper that we all do as a notary. Then there is an electronic notarization, and that's sometimes called e-notary or iPen. And then there's the remote online notarization, and we call that RON. So I'm not going to talk about the traditional because we should all be familiar with, using the stamp and being in the presence of a notary, the signer being in the presence of the notary when they sign. In electronic notarization, I bet every single solitary person on this call has done an electronic notarization before. Because if you've ever gone to like CVS to pick up a prescription and they have you sign on that little keypad thing, or you've gone to your doctor's office and they've had like the HIPAA and the Privacy Act, and they want you to sign on that little black strip that's just a signature pad, that's an electronic signature. Or electronic, well, it's not notarization, but it's the same concept. It's a electronic signature. That is iPen, that is a form of electronic notarization. For the actual notary part, it's usually related to some sort of real estate transaction where the title company or the signing service you use your tablet and you go to the client's, you're with the client, so you're physically in the presence of the client, and you're signing on your laptop or your Apple, your iPad or tablet or whatever. So that is the electronic. The remote online is where it's just like this. We are online. We are not in the physical presence of the signer, but we are with them visually and via audio. And those are two main things that have to happen on a RON. You have to physically see them, and you have to be able to hear them as well. Let's see here. Looking through some notes here. Any questions while I look for my next thing I want to bring up? Oh, you guys are
I
all
thought of
muted.
one.
All
I thought
right,
of
let's
one.
hear.
When we mail in the RON, the companies we registered with, we print off something from our end that shows like our number or that a welcome letter or something like that. Just stick it with it all in the envelope and
Yep, that's all you do.
now when you update, do you have to send all three of those again? Or
Yep,
like
you got to send everything. You got to send everything. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And when you're, you could even take a screenshot. I think for one of my platforms, I just have a screenshot of like my dashboard on the platform because I didn't really get a letter or, an email from them. So proof, that's all the state says, is they want proof that you're onboarded. So, your name on the dashboard means you're onboarded.
How long does it generally take to get that information back to get your RON?
So you're not going to, from the state?
Yes.
So you're not going to get anything back.
Right. You're going to go,
have,
how long does it usually take? Yeah, I remember you said we won't get anything back. We just have to check the system. But what's that turnaround time approximately, or what have you seen?
I've seen it kind of all over the board. I saw somebody on Facebook in the group say he got it like the next day. I've heard people say they've been waiting for 4 months. When I started 2 years ago, I heard it was like 4 to 6 weeks ish. But so I can't tell you because I don't know what the bandwidth of the Office of the Great Seal is. I don't know. I know they had 4 people and then they dropped down to 1 or 2. But Leslie knows. She's going to tell me. Oh, it's just one person?
Yeah, they only have 1. Yeah.
Okay.
They're down to 1. And so they've automated a lot. But automating a lot it only applies to what's happening online. When you mail something in, even though the law says they have to mail it back to you, they don't. So you just have to keep checking. So if you go to the state website, go to Notary Search and find it, you're going to know if you've been updated based on what the last what the most recent update is on it. So I'll give you a hint. End of December, I added another RON platform. And again, I had to do all of the things Debbie said. I had to give proof for all of the platforms I have, list all the platforms that I had. I emailed it to them and got an email back saying it had to be mailed in. And so that was a little bit annoying because I never had to mail it in before. So I just checked because you asked. That was the end of December. I haven't gone back because I haven't actually needed the platform. But what they do is they add another result. So if I look through my results, there's 3 because I've sent in actually 4, but apparently they didn't get one of them. Platforms. So the initial one is my initial notary request, and then an update adding RON, and then an update adding another RON vendor. So my most recent one is active as of January 4th. So it took about a week. It seems like they got it and put it in there because I think I sent it right after Christmas and it was done right away. So you just have to keep checking the website for that information.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one other thing that I want to make sure that everybody understands is even though when you're a RON, you can do notarizations on RON, you physically have to be within the state of Michigan. So you be anywhere in the state of Michigan. You can go up north, you can go down to Monroe, you can be anywhere in Michigan, but you cannot do a notarization once you step outside of you cross the state lines to any other state. You are not allowed to do that. So let's talk about things related to RON. So there are terms like a digital signature and a digital seal or electronic signature. There's all this other stuff that you have to learn when when you become a RON. So let's talk about your stamp. So everybody's got their physical stamp. When you join a platform in the state of Michigan, my understanding, and so far it's been true for the platforms that I've joined, the vendor is required to provide you with a digital stamp. I haven't had to pay for a digital stamp. Stamp looks just like my stamp, my physical stamp, but underneath it in small lines or small letters, it says whatever platform I am on. So let me see if I can pull up my Cyberize It one real quick so you can see what the digital stamp looks like. And the other vendors have their name, their company name underneath it. Share my screen here. All right. because I'm generally in Oakland, I have multiple digital stamps. I have one that says Wayne, one that says Oakland. Chances are I'm not going to be anywhere else other than Wayne or Oakland when I do a notarization. So I already pre-filled mine in for acting in the county of. That way I don't have to do an extra step while I'm in the session to fill in the blank. But you can see here that this electronic notarization was performed by means of live audiovisual communication technology using CyberIzit. And the other
That's
platforms
actually
have
the
that.
law. The law states that line has to be on there.
Yep.
It has to say that it was electronic, and it has to say what platform. So that if it ever goes to court or needs to be apostilled, that will be checked to make sure that you are affiliated with that platform. And that goes back to that form that you sent in saying what platforms you're using. So unfortunately, they don't tell you that. I found out because someone else did it wrong. Somebody else didn't send in that form listing all of them, and they had notarized it using a platform that wasn't on their most recent application. And so Secretary of State rejected it. And when I went to redo it, I just dug into it to find out why was this rejected? And that's how I found out all of this information about making sure the last application they receive is complete and making sure your signature matches, because that's what they're checking when they go to court or apostille. So some of the things they don't tell you, but you are learning here. So that's a good thing that we're able to share that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question in chat, Deb.
Yeah, I see Cheryl's question. Cheryl, I don't know all the platforms. I just know that for CyberIzit, you can, I just took the seal that they gave me because it had the blank for acting in the county in. I put Oakland in there and resaved it so I could make my duplicates. And then the stamp isn't actually in CyberIzit. It's on my computer and it's in my Adobe. So when I apply it, it's there. It's not coming from CyberIzit. So that's the best way I can answer your question because I'm not on,
Okay, I understand that.
Okay. All right.
But
Cool.
do you have your own Adobe? I know you said you get a back office of Adobe with CyberIzit, right? So when you're saving offline, are you saving to that one or your own?
I save it if I'm doing documents for Ron for CyberIzit. I use my CyberIzit version because it's
Okay.
That's where the we're going to talk about templates later, okay. But you make a template and that your templates are in CyberIzit. So that's why I use their back office for Adobe.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then Peggy, I think you had another question.
Yes, I was going to ask a question. How you said you're acting in the county of, if you're acting in the county of Wayne, do you put acting in the county of Wayne or do you leave that blank?
I don't leave blanks on my stamp. So if I'm commissioned in Wayne County and I'm acting in Wayne County, I put Wayne County.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. So we were talking about, so we talked about the stamp. There are things called digital signatures. So I don't mean just your signature written out. I'm talking about a secure feature that you have to purchase. So some of you have heard of IdenTrust. They are a prominent digital signature company or provider. And the digital signature is a mechanism that is used to verify that a particular digital document or message or transaction is authentic, and it provides the receiver the guarantee that the message was actually generated by the sender and it was not modified by a third party. So when you sign up for, let's say, IdenTrust, and let me just say, in Michigan, we're not required to have a digital signature. However, some of the vendors, the RON vendors, will require you to have a digital certificate or a digital signature. So it's, do you spend the money? Do you spend the, you know, $80 or so to get this digital signature so you can get on this platform? Because I needed one for Nexus. Even during the notarization process, I didn't have to apply it, but for some reason they require it. So I don't know. Being new, I had one before I even know I didn't need it. I bought it because the NNA said, get it, you know, buy it from us. So again, you don't know what you don't know. So hopefully, you know, talking through will help. Go ahead, Leslie.
So the reason we don't need a digital signature in Michigan is because Michigan doesn't require a stamp. As long as your elements are there, it's legal in Michigan. However, some platforms will require the digital signature if you are crossing state lines. Some places require a stamp whether you're in Michigan or not. So that's why they just want to keep level. If Michigan ever changes their law to where they require a stamp, we will also be required to have a digital signature. So those two go hand in hand, just so you know.
Gotcha. All right. I never put that together before. You're so smart. So you can get a digital signature through IdenTrust. There are other companies out here, but the most prevalent or in the notary world, the one I always hear about is IdenTrust. And you'll be able to, so the process for that, when you purchase it, and even purchasing it, there's like a little side thing you can do. You can always go to the NNA. They sell the like 1-year subscription for, I don't know, let's say $70, where it might be $90 if you go direct to IdenTrust. So save yourself a couple bucks, go through the NNA, you purchase it through them, they give you a code, you go to IdenTrust, you put the code in, you get it. You need to download this certificate on the computer that you're always going to use to do your notarizations. And then you have to go through this whole setup process, and you get like a authentication key or a what are those keys called? They're I know they're called PKIs. I don't see it on here, but anyway, it like bonds to your computer. So your document says it came from this IP address, and this IP address belongs to this person. So if you need one in the future, you know how to get it. And IdenTrust will help you through setting it up. And if you get a new computer, you know, it's on your one computer, you get a new computer, like Leslie just got a new computer, she could call IdenTrust and they can walk her through. Thank you, public key infrastructure. That's what the PKI is. They can move it over onto your new computer.
Can you have it on more than one computer?
That I don't know. I don't know. You could, you can always do your due diligence and ask. Thank you, Amber. Glad you could join us. All right, so that we talked about the digital signature. We talked about the vendors. So let's talk about more of the process for a RON. When you're doing a RON, there are certain elements that are going to come up. The signer is going to have a document, and the document's going to have to get uploaded, and the signer has to be authenticated or verified. Their ID has to be verified. In the state of Michigan, we use KBA, or knowledge-based authentication questions. those are those questions that if you've ever like applied for something and they ask you, you know, what year did you buy your Honda Civic? You know, and they give you 5 choices to pick from, or what was your street address in, you know, when you lived on the numbers, when you lived on this street. Those type of questions. They're all public records, information that's easily pulled through these verification companies. It's not credit reports. It doesn't ding a person's credit report or anything like that. In Michigan, you have to pass your KBA questions, and then you have to show your ID. So, and that's most platforms. Well, all platforms, you have to show your picture ID. But some states, so that's Michigan specific, some states use a different form of ID verification, and that's called biometrics. Biometrics is where the signer takes a selfie of themselves, and then they upload a copy of their ID, their driver's license, passport, whatever, and then the biometric company does like a mapping, like how are the eyes the same distance away, and the ear, you know, kind of. I always think Minority Report. It's just like that digital mapping thing. That is biometric identification. We don't have that in Michigan. I hope we get that here in Michigan, because it is hard sometimes for people to remember those questions, or sometimes they don't qualify for KBA because they're too young and they don't have enough public records to draw those questions from, or they've moved around a lot and they don't remember, or they're really old, they're 70 and they've lived in, you know, lots of places. They don't remember the address of the street, you know, from 20 years ago. So there are reasons why clients fail KBA, and then we as notaries can't move forward with that notarization, because they have to authentic. They have to be ID. Their ID has to be confirmed. So that is a problem. However, I use Cyberize It. I'm not trying to sell Cyberize It, but I'm just going to give you an example on Cyberize It, because it is in so many states. There are notaries from other states. I'm able to pass that that opportunity, that lead, to another notary that in a state that does biometrics. So I don't have to ever send the client back to square one. That is the number one thing that I hate to do, because I don't want it done to me. If I come to you and I say, hey, can you help me? Then I would hope, if you can't help me, you'll point me in the right direction and get me to where I need to be. So that's what I do. And it has happened often, because clients, for whatever reason, fail KBA, they don't remember the questions, or it times out. That's another thing on the platform. It may time out. It takes them too long to answer the questions. They also have issues taking pictures of their ID. And I mean, those are just the hazards. Those are the things that you gotta, as you work through being around, you'll learn how to troubleshoot. You'll learn what to tell the client to do in advance, and you know, there's a way to take a good picture, all those kind of things. All right, Leslie, you turn your camera back on. Did you have a question? Nope. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. So where was I? I was talking about the process. So they have to authenticate. That's the first thing. They have to upload their document, and then their document is going to get tagged for signature. So if you've ever signed anything online, like a DocuSign or a loan, or you know, you signed up for something and you get sent the document, and it's got that little yellow flag that says start, and then you hit start and it takes you down to your signature, and then it'll say click here, and then you sign, or it'll put your name in there, and then you go down to the bottom and it's click to submit or something like that. I'm pretty sure everybody has done that at some point in time. It's very, very similar to that. It's the same technology. It might not be all the same platforms, but it is very, very similar. So the signing process itself is not hard. It's the steps that lead up to it that cause you problems. It's the ID verification. And mind you, there could be multiple signers on in your session. All the signers have to authenticate before you can start. So if one signer, I got 3 signers, one signer can't authenticate, I can't do the signing. Unless they want to proceed without the one person. It is just hit or miss right now. I mean, the times are getting better. I see improvement as we go along, but there's still some struggles there. Now tagging, yes.
When you said that if you can't authenticate the person for whatever reason, you send them to another person under the Cyberize platform.
Yep.
Is that person in another state and can accept the
yes.
Okay. Biometric. Okay.
Yes.
So that person will complete the notarization from that state, or once they get it, the biometric verified, do they send it back to you?
No, they do it. They handle it.
Okay.
I pass it off to them.
Okay.
Yep.
We have to, as notaries, we have to be able to verify the signers. We can't have someone else verify it and then us do the notarization. That's not allowed. We as notaries always have to be the single source of verifying any notarization that we sign. So that wouldn't even be legal if they passed it back. They can't say, yeah, go ahead, and then come back. That's not allowed.
Yep. And then I don't know if I stated this before. I know I said that we have to be in the state of Michigan to do the notarization, but the client can be anywhere as long as they've got their ID, current valid ID. So just the same as traditional pen and paper, current valid ID, their document, their notary block is in English, and they have good internet connection. That's always important. They can be anywhere. I've done notarizations for people in Rwanda and Lagos and Italy, Florida. Like, it's not just here in Michigan, they're all over. I did one Friday night for a lady was in Miami. So it just depends on, where the client is. It doesn't, and they can be, like I said, anywhere on the planet. It doesn't matter where they are. You have to be in Michigan. Yep.
Does the signer have to be a U.S. citizen, or can we notarize for people who are in another country and from another country and have never stepped foot in the United States?
That's going to be hard because they're not going to have any public records to be authenticated. So the chances are very unlikely that it'll work for us. However, for a biometric notary, they would be able to do that because, again, they're mapping the face. They're not answering the questions. And again, as long as the notary block is in English. Yep, they're good to go.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. We only have 6 more minutes. So does anybody are there any other questions? I just kind of like scraped the surface today, but we're on Wednesday night's call. We're going to talk more about the process, like the tagging and the other Ron details. So
the actual doing it.
The doing it part, yeah.
But you do have to know the background before you can start doing it. And as much as a lot of people just want to start doing it and then learn the background, it's just not, you can't do it that way. It's not,
especially not Ron. Not only do you need to know how to be a notary, but then you need to learn technology. And a lot of I've been surprised because there's been some older people that was thinking, they're not gonna embrace it, and they nailed it and didn't complain about it. Like they just got it. And then there's some young people that are like, this is stupid. Like they it just it's a luck of the draw, I guess. But you gotta learn, and you gotta be you gotta stick. If you decide to go down the wrong path, then I say stick with it, because there will be frustrations that pop up because you're learning, but at the same time you're anxious. You want to get started, you want to start making money, you want to start doing it, but you got to learn all this stuff. So just know that you got to embrace the technology.
For sure.
So
So
all the
there you go.
so all the Wednesday night sessions, they're recorded and uploaded to your YouTube site every week regularly.
Yeah, I got like 2 I haven't uploaded yet. I was having some
Okay.
technical issues, but the rest are there, and I will get those other 2 up.
Okay. I'm not able to attend those. So.
Okay, yeah, they'll be
Yeah.
there.
All right, great. Well, I'm
right.
glad you're watching them, even if you aren't coming to it. Thanks, Pippin.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Wednesday night, it's going to be a continuation. This is Ron Week. We thank Debbie for taking the time to research, to share her experience with us, and to take care of all this week. Thanks, Deb.
You're welcome. All right. Well, if there are no other questions, I guess that's it.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Deb. We're going to stop the recording now. Everybody can